अरिहंत सिद्ध सुर उपाध्याय साधु सर्व अर्थ के प्रकाशी मांगलिक उपकारी है। तीन को स्वरूप जानी रागते भई जो भक्ति काय को नमाय स्तुति को उच्चारी है। धन्य धन्य तुम्ही से काज सब आज भयो कर चोरी बारंबार वंदना हमारी है। मंगल कल्याण सुख ऐसो हम चाहते हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। So last week we had studied about verse number 99, and then of course we did another module, 14th module also, where we discussed the one of the concomitant factors, that is inevitability, bhavitavya, destiny. Okay, so that was also over, and then we are going to move to 15. But before that, as I said the last class, my mind was a bit heavy, so I'll repeat the verse number 99, which is a part of Dravyani Yoga from Pravachan Sarji, which goes on to explain the principle of sequentially bound modification. So I'll just brief you about that verse. In that verse, first the Acharya Amrit Chandra Dev in his commentary has proved that in every modification there is a evolution, extinction and permanence. So these three characteristics, any substance is identified by these three characteristics: Utpad, Vyay, Dravya. Evolution, extinction, permanence. Okay. So this is the basic characteristics of any substance. Now, in this particular verse, Acharya Amritchandra Dev in his commentary has first proved this evolution, extinction, permanence in a particular modification. Okay. So in a particular modification, like say take an example of three modification, 97, 98, 99. Okay. Now when you are considering modification number 98, that is evolution. 97 is extinction, and there is a permanence of that modification in that particular sequence. That is called permanence. Okay, we cannot alter that modification from that flow in any manner. Nobody can do it. Even not Jinendra Bhagwan can do it. Okay, so that is by structure itself so well organized that there is no scope for any changes in that modification. You cannot bring it earlier also, and you cannot push it back also. It will come on its predestined time. Okay, so in one particular modification there is an evolution, there is an extinction, and there is a permanence. Okay, this is the first part of the explanation. The second part, okay, the second part is they have proved these three characteristics in a substance. So when we say substance, that substance means attributes and modification included in that. So now when we see the whole structure, substance, attributes and modification, in that evolution and extinction happens in modification, while the substance remains permanent. Okay, in every evolution the substance is manifesting, in every extinction the substance is manifesting. Okay, so after proving this through these two, he wants to tell us that every substance is identified by three characteristics, and when we look at these three characteristics, then he gave the example of, as we cannot shift a space point from one place to another place, and nobody tries it also. I gave you an example. We discussed 5 examples. The first example was about the necklace. In the necklace, each gem is fixed in a place. Okay, it has been all connected through a string. Okay, and now when you are moving your hands, one after the another gems comes in the sequence, and that sequence cannot be broken down. If we want to try to break down that sequence, then we have to cut the string. Okay, then it is no more a necklace. Okay, so that cannot be done. That was the one example. The second example was that Delhi and Kolkata, they are placed at certain place. We cannot shift Delhi to Kolkata and Kolkata to Delhi. Very obvious to all. Similarly, the modification, the flow that was also prefixed, that cannot be altered. That was what the acharyas wanted to prove. Then there was one example of cinema and reel. As in a cinema, all the shooting has been done and it all comes in a particular sequence. It cannot be changed. Similarly, in every modification, there is a definite sequence that it is following, and that sequence cannot be changed. So, when your active consciousness, when your knowledge realizes this particular fact about the substance, attributes, and modification, then automatically the doership goes away. Why it goes away, Himali? Any good logic? Anyone else also can try. Soumya is there? So if you all keep video
Sir.
on, no, I will be more,
So sir, the logic.
yeah, logic. You go ahead.
Sir, the logic is that everyone tries to what actually is our effort directed to. Our effort is always directed to change the sequence of modifications. We want to do some things prior to the other ones.
Why we
So,
want to change the modification?
okay. So, sir, we want to change the modification because we think we can change the modification, first thing. And second, we think that if we are able to control, we will be more happier by changing the sequence of modification of other things or
Okay,
of
okay,
our life.
okay. Anyone else? Now the question has changed. Then the question has come up to why we need to change the modification. Why we need to change the modification?
Mithyatva.
Okay, very good. Anyone else?
The desire, like sometimes whatever you
Okay,
desire
okay,
to make you
okay,
happy or unhappy.
good. Anyone else? At one point of time in this article, Dr. Parilji has explained this, that because modification keeps on changing every moment, so we have a tendency to change it. That is the logic. Since modification is of one moment, it changes every moment. So we have this psychology that we can change the modification. Okay. But the nature of things is that although modification is of one moment, it changes every moment. But the change, the sequence cannot be altered. That is also a part of the structure. And this structure is universal. Nobody has made it. There cannot be any change. It is all on auto mode. So modification, we have a tendency to affect changes in the modification because modification changes every moment. So we feel that we can do it our way. But as you said, someone said mithyatva, all our logics are very, very good. Now coming back to the original question that was Soumya was asking. What was my question, Soumya?
That why do we
Right.
want? Yeah.
Why? Yeah. When we decide on this principle, we automatically don't become a doer. Right? That was the question. Why?
So because we know everything is predestined.
Okay. Anyone else?
So and all
Sir,
the concomitant factors also. Sorry.
Okay. Good. Anything?
yes, sir. The independent flow of modifications is apparent to us. We understand that all these things are happening independently of our effort or our thinking.
Okay. Anyone else? Roshni?
Sir, I agree with what Somyaji said, that it's modification is happening because we want to try and change things, but as Hemali ji said, it's also the Panch Samvai which we cannot control.
Okay, okay, very good, very good. So the answer is that after understanding the structure, that in every substance which is characterized by these three things, evolution, extinction, and permanence, we come to the conclusion that there is nothing that we can change over there. With this conviction, our active consciousness is free now. Earlier, it was busy for changing things because of wrong belief, whatever you say. Okay. But now the wrong belief has gone, the delusion has gone. You have realized the structure, that this structure is an automatic system and there cannot be any changes made into it. When you are very firm on this principle, then automatically your tendency to do anything, to make any changes goes away. And when it goes away, your active consciousness now is free. So it will automatically bound towards the self, the pure soul. Okay. So deciding on this principle leads us to our self experience. Okay. So that's why this making decision on this structure is very, very important. And it is very natural. Just you see the example, again you come back to the example, the cinema reel or the places cannot be changed like Delhi to Kolkata, Kolkata to Delhi. Similarly, these modifications also, the sequence of this modification cannot change. Okay. With this note, we end this discussion on verse number 99, which was a part of Dravyan Yoga. So our discussion was going on how we can prove the principle of sequentially bound modification from the four exposition. So when we come to Dravyan Yoga, this was the only reference that has been given here. Earlier there was reference from Samaisar 308 to 311 verse number, and there was one more reference from Kartikenu Preksha, which we discussed in the definition 321, 322, 323 verse. Okay. So these two were Dravyan Yoga, and then these pravachans are verse number 99 is also Dravyan Yoga. Okay. So now we also discussed the inevitability or the destiny last class, module number 15. Okay. There were 7 references given from different scriptures and scholars and all that we have seen. So now we are in a position to move on to the module number 15. Okay. Everyone is good with what we have discussed so far? Any questions on that? Okay. So let's start with the 15. I'll make you a co-host, Soumya. I made you a co-host. Soumya, you can share the screen, the textbook. So module number 15 is on page number 26. 26 of the original book. So I think it will be maybe PDF it is 44, it's showing in my this, but mine is the earlier printout. Then again there were corrections made on this, and then you are getting a final printout. So your page number may differ. So where we are, Himali, on which page number?
So page 17, no?
17.
Yes.
Okay. So on this, many people say from there we have to start.
Yes, sir. 17.
Yeah. Okay, fine. So this is module number 15, and the heading of the module number 15 is that an ignorant soul, an attached soul, does not become doer of non-self substance. So whether it is an enlightened soul or an ignorant soul, nobody is a doer of non-self substance. Non-self substance means पर में कोई फेर पार नहीं कर सकता है, ज्ञानी भी नहीं कर सकता है अज्ञानी भी नहीं कर सकता है, right? So that was the heading. Now we will read this whole this thing, and in this particular module it has been proved that whether it is a knowledgeable soul or an ignorant soul, nobody does anything in any non-self substance. Okay, so first they want to establish this principle, and then they will move on to that an ignorant soul becomes the doer of the attachment, and enlightened soul does not become doer of the attachment. Okay, so simple. So we will read this 15th number module, and Madhuji, you read.
Should I start from in the cited passage?
No, from
Or after
next
that?
paragraph. Next, yeah, after
Okay.
that.
Okay, sir. On this, many people say it is indeed absolutely correct that the Jineshwara cannot alter it because, according to Jain doctrine, the Lord is merely the knower and seer of the world, not its doer or sustainer. But if the Lord cannot alter it, does it mean that we too cannot alter it? If we too are unable to alter it, then it seems we become subject to the knowledge of the Jineshwara. Whatever he has known, we must necessarily do, or rather, our transformation must occur exactly as the Lord has known it. The assertion is not correct because the transformation of an entity is not subject to the knowledge of the Jineshwara. The Jineshwara has merely known the entity precisely in the manner in which it had transformed, is transforming, and will transform. Knowledge merely knows the other. It does not
Emily,
bring
you can share the screen. I made you a host.
knowledge merely knows the other. It does not bring about transformation. Just as an entity is not subject to knowledge, in the same way, knowledge is not subject to the entity. Both undergo transformation independently, each according to its own cause. It is beyond my understanding how the mere act of knowing by knowledge undermines the independence of the entity. Independence is not undermined by knowledge, but by one's own ignorance. Knowledge simply knows the transformation of the entity without in any way interfering with it. Secondly, how absurd it is to claim that although the Lord Himself may not be able to alter what He has known, I certainly can. This would make the person even greater than the Lord Himself. That which even the Lord, possessed of infinite energy, cannot alter this individual with limited strength wishes to accomplish. On this, if someone were to argue the Lord is detached and is omniscient, being detached, he has no desire to do or change anything, and being omniscient, he already knows exactly what had how what and how everything is going to be. Hence, no thought of altering anything arises in him. But we are filled with attachment, aversion, and our knowledge is limited. We do not know the future and we harbor the desire to bring about change. So, why do you compare us with the detached, omniscient Lord? To such a to such a one, it is said that here Acharya Dev has not merely stated the Lord is not the doer with regard to other entities, rather by including the words Indra, Indrava, Indruva. He has also conveyed that even Indra cannot bring about change, meaning no one can do so. Jinendra cannot do it means that the omniscient and detached cannot alter anything. And when Indra cannot do it, do it means that even one who is filled with passions and limited knowledge cannot affect change. By placing the word Indra alongside Jinendra, the Acharya is referring to all those who are filled with passion and are of limited knowledge. For among the passionate and with limited knowledge, Indra is the most powerful. The very use of the word Indra is meant to resolve the common doubt. But this ignorant world is not concerned about the omniscient Lord. It is only worried about itself. That is why it says, even if the Lord cannot change anything, I still can.
Stop.
The
So
very
this
aim.
is stop. This is the
Yes,
end
sir.
of module number 15. And in this particular module, we saw what an ignorant soul thinks and what he wants. Okay. The one thing that has to be highlighted in this discussion is that the omniscient Lord, he has seen these things in his knowledge, and then only he has this has come out in his divine sound. Okay, but that does not mean that he is the doer of all these things. He has just known it. Okay, so whatever he has known, we must necessarily do, or rather our transformation must occur exactly as the Lord has known it. Okay, so 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 the Jinendra Bhagwan is not managing all these things. He has just known it, and he has told in his divine sound. Okay, so that does not make him a doer. Okay, he is just an knower, and because of his knowledge has turned complete, has turned perfect, he is able to know everything in one moment. So he is able to know, but that does not mean that he is the doer. So this was the one argument. Another argument that the Lord Jinendra Bhagwan does not have attachment because he is a detached soul. But we are all attached soul. So we can do it and we want to do it. So this is the argument that the ignorant soul is giving. And in the last, due to his ignorance, due to his delusion, he says that even if the Lord cannot change anything, I still can. So this is the kind of understanding that a ignorant soul carries. So until our knowledge turns right, these things are going to happen. Every now and then we can see that we feel that we can make the changes. I can do this, I can do that. He must have done like this. He must have. So lot of questions coming to our mind, and we are not ready to accept this fact that everything is happening in perfect order. Okay. So this principle, if you understand it in the right sense, it will take away your doership. Okay. So we are just an observer and not a doer. This principle that we have established in the beginning, we keep on coming back to that principle again and again and prove it that in fact by default we are all a knower and not the doer. Okay. So this module particular was from the perspective of an ignorant soul. Now, the next module,
Sir,
yeah,
can I interrupt? I
yeah,
just want to know where the 14th module is starting. I don't know if anybody has noted.
okay, I'll just repeat it again. So
14th.
it is starting 2 pages before. The renowned logician Acharya Samanbhadra writes in the Swayambhu Stotra.
Now.
So there are 7 references, and this is one of the first reference.
Page 16 beginning. First.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. That is 14th, no, sir?
Yes.
And ends where?
So after the 7th reference, in the cited passage from the Kartikenu
Okay.
Preksha.
Oh, and acha. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, and 15 starts from
Okay.
today.
So now we are
Yeah.
moving on to the 16th one. Okay. So
Yeah.
16th one, the heading is worrying about the transformation of non-self substance is futile. Worrying about the transformation of non-self substance, okay, is futile. So this is the topic, and I would like to have answer from you before we before we go on to reading it. Why worrying about the non-self substance about the transformations happening in the non-substance substance is futile. Why? Open to all.
But because it doesn't change anything for us.
Okay.
And we cannot change anything for others.
We cannot change anything. Now, in the context of this principle, every now and then we are establishing that there is no way we can change anything in the outside world. There is no way we can change anything in our sequence of modifications. Okay. So whatever doership we have in our mind, that gets negated by both these principles, that we cannot change anything in the outside world, in the non-self substances. At the same time, we cannot do any changes in the sequence. Although the modification is of one moment and it keeps on changing every moment, but that sequence is prefixed and we cannot change it. Okay. With these two principles, accepting these two principles makes our active consciousness free. It has got no responsibility to do anything anywhere. So automatically it goes and settles in the self. I'll give you a very good example on this from this text Pravachansa. There was a large ship. It was on the bank of the sea, port, port. So there were birds flying from one place to another place in the ship. So ship is very big, So it was, sometimes it was sitting here, then it was going there. That thing was happening. Okay. And they were playing around themselves. Now the sheep has started gradually. They were still playing, and gradually the sheep went very deep into the sea. Now these birds they wanted to go to the shore, but with their strength they were going up to a certain distance, but still there were no shore in their eyesight. They could not see where is the shore because they had limitation of their eyesight also, right? So since they cannot see shore anywhere, they come back to the ship. Again they find the urge to go to the shore, and again they tried, but still they could not see anything. So they again come back because they have limited strength. In between, if they lose their strength, then they will be what do we call?
Succumb to some accident.
नहीं, they will डूब जाने को क्या बोलते हैं?
Drown.
They will drown in the sea, right? So they have to come back on time. So they are coming back again to the ship. 2-3 times they did this. Now when they thought that this is not possible, they gave up and they settled in the ship, right? So long as we have ignorance and we feel that we can change anything in the non-self substance, we feel that we can change in the sequence of our own modification, we keep on doing it. But with examples and with different viewpoints, when we discuss, analyze, and come to the conclusion that, oh, this is very true, we cannot do anything in the non-self substance. At the same time, we cannot do anything in the sequence of our own modification. That is the time that your active consciousness becomes free. And so it settles in the self. Okay. So this is what this principle, understanding this principle so properly is going to release you from all your worries, tensions, nothing. Okay. So this point has been discussed here, that worrying about the non-self substance, transformation in the non-self substance is futile. Okay. So we have already discussed. Now let's read it through. Hemali, you read.
The very aim of the above substance that upholds sequentially bound modification.
Statement. It is statement, not substance.
Sorry. The very aim of the above statement that upholds sequentially bound modification is to negate external agency. The conviction that one substance is not the doer, destroyer, or sustainer of another substance is the fundamental pillar, the very backbone of Jain philosophy. Each substance is itself the doer of its own modification. Transformation is its inherent nature, dharma. In its transformation, it does not depend even in the slightest or any other substance. Just as permanence is its natural state, so is transformation, or each modification is the doer of itself. There's nothing for you to do here. That is, there is no need to worry about doing anything. The non-sentient substance never act upon others, nor do they concern themselves with producing their own modifications. Yet, are their modifications blocked? No. Why then should the jeev agitate itself unnecessarily with the anxiety of transformation? Each substance is fully capable in the production of its own modification, or rather, the modification itself is entirely competent in its own transformation. O soul, you have nothing whatsoever to do in that matter. You are needlessly ruining your worldly lifetime by worrying over it. That substance or modification whose transformation you carry as a burden on your head, about which you boast and wonder in anxious agitation, has no need, nor even the slightest concern for your assistance or intervention. You are like the dog who walks beneath a cart drawn by a mighty oxen, deluded by the conceit, I alone am pulling the cart, and thus tormented by your own self-created anxiety. The nature of reality assures you, be carefree with regard to the world. But one who is possessed by the pride of doership of another says, Son, if you take charge of the shop, then I can be carefree. Until someone else begins doing the work that I do, how can I possibly be carefree? But I say that, apart from sequentially bound modification, no such son has ever been born who could make a father gripped by the pride of doership, truly carefree. Sequentially bound modification alone is such a thing that if one understands it, if one has faith in it, then one can indeed become carefree. The problem of a person possessed by the pride of doership is precisely this. There is someone else takes over his work. Only then can he be carefree. It never occurs to him that he does not actually do anything regarding the other or the modification. He merely worries about them due to ignorance. And even the doership of his worry exists only so long as ignorance remains.
This is the end of module number 16. Okay. So one thing very clearly, you must have understood this whole module because I explained you in the beginning itself. Okay. So this is a method where you become carefree. Okay. So first of all, one thing that has to be highlighted here, that the nature or the structure of each and every substance is that there is a transformation happening in it every moment. Okay. So by a substance by its nature itself, it's transforming every moment. While it is transforming every moment, at the same time it is permanent also. Okay. So that is the structure's characteristics: evolution, extinctions, every moment in the modification, and as a substance it remains permanent. Okay. So with this, by knowing the structure, all the 5 substances in this universe are tension free, because they never change, they never try to change the sequence of their transformation. Okay. So they are transforming every moment. All the 5 substances except the soul, all the 5 substances are transforming every moment, but they never have any tension, depression about that. But only the human being, okay, this human being is always worrying all the time because he wants to change those sequence of transformation. Okay. The substance or modifications transform you carry as a burden on your head, about which you boast and wander in in anxious agitation has no need, nor even the slightest concern for your assistance or intervention. You are like a dog, okay, who walks beneath a cart drawn by mighty oxen, deluded by the conceit, I alone am pulling this cart. I am alone managing this family. I am alone managing this house. I am alone managing this kitchen. You know, we have so many inhibitions in our mind that we are doing, we are doing, we are doing. But here it says that there is no way anybody can do anything in the non-self substance. There is no way anything can do anything in the sequence of the own modifications. Okay, these two things settles that we are not a doer by nature. So then what do we are? We are an observer only. And you remain an observer and you are good. No tension, no depression, only relax. And when you are not a doer, the eternal bliss automatically flows. You enjoy that eternal bliss. Okay? The acharyas sets you apart from all the worries of this mundane existence, because there is nothing on your head. There is no burden that you are carrying on your head to do anything, because the structure says that every substance is modifying on its own every moment in a particular fixed sequence. There is no way that you can do anything over there. Okay. So with the knowledge of this, with the right understanding of this, and having a faith in this principle, you become carefree. Okay. So this is what this, so worrying is futile. That is what this module explained us, and very well we have also understood it. Now the next module 17, non-doership of Jain philosophy. The heading is non-doership of Jain philosophy, and here we are going to discuss 4 points. Okay, and these 4 points we have already covered up somewhere in the discussions today. Okay, but again I will point you out. So yes, so there are 4 points in the first paragraph itself. There are 3 points. Okay, so just note it down. I am also noting it down. So first one is, the meaning of Akartavad is not merely that there is no God. So there is no God who acts as the creator of this world. So this is the first point. The second point, no substance is the doer or undoer of another substance modification. Next line. Okay. Third point in the same paragraph, the knowledgeable soul, okay, the enlightened soul is not even the doer of its own defilements. Defilements means attachments, etc. Okay. Alien dispositions. On alien dispositions also you can write, or defilement also means the same. Okay. So these are the 3 points. And the fourth one would be in the next page. Yes. No, in the same page, just below, if someone says, granted, I may not be the doer of another's transformation. You see that paragraph? That is the number 4th point. Okay. So with this 4 point, we will be proving that the philosophy of Jainism advocates non-doership. Okay. There is no way that a substance can do anything in another substance. That is the basic principle of Bhagwan Mahavir. Okay. So this is what we are going to cover here in this module. And the module begins from Jain philosophy is referred to from there, and it goes on onto the next page. Yeah. in the middle of the next page, in this way each substance is itself the doer of its own sequentially bound transformation. Okay, you got? So now we will be reading this, and Soumya, you read.
Yes, sir. Module 17.
Yes.
Jain philosophy is referred to as a doctrine of non-doership, akartavad. The meaning of non-doership is not merely that there is no God who acts as the creator of this world, but also that no substance is the doer or undoer of another substance modifications. Indeed, the knower soul is not even the doer of its own defilements.
Knowledgeable soul, Jnani.
Okay, sir. Sir, it's written knower soul here.
Acha, sorry. So this has again been changed. Why they have changed? Okay, okay. So now see, this is the mistake that we do. Now that they wanted to say about the Jnani Atma. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So they have removed that bracket Jnani Atma, and knowledgeable they have made knower. Now they don't know the impact of doing these changes. Okay. So when we are doing this translation and reviewing, we have to see all the perspective. Now the original sentence that I am reading again, indeed the knowledgeable soul, Jnani Atma, is not even the doer of its own defilements. So this was being said exclusively कि ज्ञानी आत्मा राग का करता नहीं है. So that is fine. और इसने क्या लिख दिया अभी? Indeed the knower soul. Knower soul means the all soul are knower. So this is a general statement. So here, this is a serious mistake. I am going to inform them. After my reviewing, they are making changes on their own. So when I review, I see all the perspectives. Now this kind of mistakes is not admissible because it changes the meaning altogether, right? So I'll inform them, but this is the problem with everyone, that one thing they want to do, but they don't see what is this effect, what is going to be the effect of this action, So now you correct, Soumya, how you will correct? You have all got physical copies with you. You correct.
Yes, sir.
Indeed,
Yes.
the knowledgeable soul. Indeed, the knowledgeable soul, bracket में you लिख the ज्ञानी आत्मा. I'll take a screenshot because I don't have a printout of new copy. So I'll take a screenshot and I have to send them. This is a very serious mistake. Okay. You can now continue.
Yes, sir.
Indeed, again,
Indeed, the knowledgeable soul is not even the doer of its own defilements. This point is elaborated in detail in the Karta Karma Adhikar and Sarv Vishuddha Gyan Adhikar of the Samaysar. In the commentary on those verses of the Sarva Vishuddha Gyan Adhikar, where the mention of sequentially regulated modifications appears, the conclusion ultimately established is non-doership. This is made clear by the following lines. In this way, although the jeev arises through its own modifications, a cause-effect relationship, karya-karan bhav, with the ajeev is not established because among all substances, there is an absence of the relationship of produced and producer, utpadya-utpadak bhav, with other substances. Due to the non-establishment of this cause-effect relationship, the ajiv cannot be established as the agent of karma for the jiva, and due to the non-establishment of the ajiv as the jiva's agent of karma, and since the relationship of doer deed is established independently, not through dependence on other substances, but within one's own substance, the jiva's doership of the ajiv cannot be established. Therefore, the jiva is established as a non-doer. Essence. The transformations of all entities are distinct. Each entity is the doer of its own transformation.
One
It is
minute,
the
1 minute, 1 minute. The transformations of all entities are distinct. See, in original, it was the transformation of all substances are distinct. So you
okay,
write substance. So again, I have to take a photo. What's happening, I don't know. Although this is not a very big difference, but what is the need and altering when I've already reviewed it, right?
Mhm.
So, ठीक है. It is good that I'm also looking at my book also simultaneously. So we will find out if there are any mistakes. Yeah, continue.
Essence. The transformation of all substances are distinct. Each entity, each substance is the doer of its own transformation. Sir, in place of is it transformation or modification?
Actually modification ही होना चाहिए. Let me check the Hindi version. So I will be more. So यहाँ परिणाम लिखा है ना, तो परिणाम is पर्याय only, but sometimes they परिणाम को हम modification भी लिख सकते हैं. देखो, the भावार्थ सर्व द्रव्यों के परिणाम भिन्न भिन्न है.
Hmm.
So the transformation of all substances are distinct. ये ठीक था ना? तो what
ठीक है,
was their need to change entity करके और confuse कर रहे हैं. सभी द्रव्य अपने अपने परिणामों के करता है. So
ठीक है.
parinam could be modification also, but
Mhm.
transformation is also good. We are
Yes, yes,
transformation also implies the same thing. Okay.
yes, sir.
So this chat GPT, what it does, when the word come parinam, he makes it as a transformation. And when the word comes paryay, it says modification. Okay.
Hmm.
So
Yes, sir.
the chat GPT also have his own limitations, but while ठीक है. So in reality, there is no do or did relation between any two entities.
Hmm.
Okay.
It is the doer of those transformations, and those transformations are its actions, karma. In reality, there is no doer-deed relationship between any two entities or any two substances. Therefore, the Jeev is the doer only of its own transformations, and its own transformations are its karma. In the same way, the Ajiv is the doer only of its own transformations, and its own modifications are its karma.
Hmm.
Accordingly, the Jeev is a non-doer with respect to the transformation of another.
Hmm.
If someone says, granted, I may not be the doer of another's transformation, but I certainly am the doer and controller of my own transformation, then to such a person it is said, certainly so, because each entity is indeed the doer and experiencer of its own transformation. However, this does not imply that you can make any alteration to the future transformation that has appeared in the omniscient's knowledge. If alteration cannot be done, then how can I still be considered the doer of my own transformation? If this doubt too arises in the world, for one who has equated doing solely with altering or changing something, what else can he even conceive beyond that? Is doing only that which involves change? Is it not also doing if one acts in accordance with what is destined to happen? Must doing always mean making something happen other than what is bound to happen? Can it not also mean doing in alignment with what is bound to happen? Call it self-doership, natural doership, or even non-doership. They all ultimately mean the same. The essence of saying that Zen philosophy advocates non-doership is precisely this. It affirms natural or self-doership, not doership by another, not doership as alteration. To be and to do naturally are one and the same. Whatever is destined to be in the future, that alone will be. In other words, with effort, we will do precisely that. There is no neglect of effort here, nor is there any notion of dependency. Rather, it is complete autonomy throughout. It includes everything: intrinsic nature, effort, inevitability, time of attainment, and instrumental cause. All five concomitant factors are simultaneously operative. Is the self the doer of its transformation or not? In this context, Swamiji's clarification is as follows. Question. The modifications are sequentially bound. Even the modifications of the soul are sequentially bound and occur only as they are due to occur. Therefore, it is correct to say that the soul is a non-doer of these modifications. Answer. No, it is not correct to say that the soul is a non-doer of its own modifications. The soul itself is the doer of those sequentially bound modifications through which it transforms. However, it must be particularly understood here that for one who has the belief that the nature of the soul is to know, or in whom the determination of sequentially bound transformation has occurred, such a jiva just does not transform into dispositions such as false belief and the like. Therefore, it is a non-doer with respect to dispositions like false belief and so on. Furthermore, even in defilements of minor passions such as subtle attachment, it does not transform into a unified form. From that perspective, it is a non-doer even of attachment and the like. However, it is the doer of its own pure, sequentially bound transformations, such a right belief, knowledge, and so on. The expression sequentially bound transformations does not mean that the soul becomes that transformation without itself being the doer. The enlightened one, while engaging in the pure state of knowledge, is himself its doer, and the ignorant one, while engaging in the state of ignorance, is its doer. In this way, each substance is itself the doer of its own sequentially bound transformation. Sir, you are muted, sir.
So this is the end of number 17. Okay. So now four things were established. The basic principle of Jain philosophy, the Akartavad Darshan. It is referred to as Jain Darshan is referred to as Akartavad Darshan. Akartavad means non-doership. So that has been established with 4 points. First is that there is no God, creator God in this world. Okay. The Vedant believes that there is a creator God, there is a manager God, and there is a destroyer God, Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh. But the Jain philosophy says that there is no creator God in this universe. The second point, one substance does not do anything in any another substance. Okay. So this is a basic principle. So this is the second point. The third point, indeed, the knowledgeable soul is not even the doer of its own defilements, okay, own alien dispositions, okay, on toxic manifestations, okay. So 3 points have been established in the first paragraph itself. This is taken from Karta Karma Adhikar or Sarvashvit Gyan Adhikar of the Samaysar scriptures. So I would just explain you this Karta Karma Adhikar of Samaysar with 4 points. The first point, that whether it is an ignorant soul or it is a knowledgeable soul, both are not the doer of anything in the non-self substance. Okay. Even the ignorant one does not do anything in the non-self substance. पर का कर्ता ज्ञानी अज्ञानी कोई भी नहीं है. The second principle, अज्ञानी पर का कर्ता बनता है. The ignorant one becomes the doer of the attachment and other dispositions. Third point, the knowledgeable soul is not the doer of the attachments in the modification. Okay. So this is the difference between an ignorant and a knowledgeable soul. A knowledgeable soul does not become a doer of the attachments in its own modification. Okay. Now the fourth point. Then what a knowledgeable soul does. So then comes the fourth point. The knowledgeable soul only is the doer of its own knowledge. Okay. Just because this is a karta karma adhikar, they have to establish this doer and deed relationship. So then the last question obvious was, then what is the knowledgeable soul doing? So the answer is, the knowledgeable soul is the doer of its own knowledge. Okay. So this is the four principles that has been established in the whole chapter of Karta Karma Adhikar of Samaysar, and Acharya were not satisfied with this only, although it is one of the largest chapter in Samaysar, still the Acharyas were not satisfied. So again in the Sarva Vishuddh Gyan Adhikar at the end, they again emphasized on this doer-deed relationship and discussed that there is no way you can establish a doer-deed relationship uh, in between two substances. Okay. Conventionally we say that Kumbhar ne ghada banaya, but from the real point of view, there you cannot establish any doer-deed relationship between two substances. Okay. One substance cannot do anything in the other substance. So this was the essence of Samaysar's Karta Karma Adhikar, and when we read this, I think it will be in the 8th sem or 9th sem, it will be a very good discussions on this. This is all, so first Jiva Adhikar, they established this oneness and minus. They settle this problem of oneness and minus in the non-self. Okay. In the Karta Karma Adhikar, they settle this problem of doership and enjoyership. Okay. So when these four kinds, the four pillars of delusion, that goes away, you are a right believer. So to be a right believer, we need to understand these two chapters of Samaysar in very detail, and that both chapters are a part of our syllabus. Okay. So by the time you finish this course, you will be an expert in practicing discriminative knowledge, because we are going to practice this in different manners throughout these 5 years, with assignments lined up in between, with GM, then LCPA, and then Viva. All these makes this course a very comprehensive life changer. Our life gets transformed automatically when we understand these principles. Okay. So today's principle, now today's discussion and the discussions that we have been doing in this principle of sequentially bound modification, there it makes you stress free. There is no stress. Stress comes when you become a doer. Okay. So when you are not a doer, everything is happening independently. Where is the stress? Right. So this has to be advocated towards the whole world. People are just suffering because of stress just by becoming a doer, when in reality they cannot do anything. Right. So every time we have to align the situation with the nature of things. What the nature of things is? Nature of things says one substance cannot do anything of the another substance. So you accept it. Once you accept it, then you are aligned with it. Okay. And this is how our wrong belief keeps on uh, uh, getting destroyed and the right belief sets in. Okay. This is the transformation that we are undergoing through by making changes in our knowledge. Okay. So our knowledge is being upgraded every now and then. Every day you read Jinwani, your knowledge gets upgraded. And with this upgraded knowledge, you will be able to practice discriminative knowledge. So in the case of a monk, when an affliction is being, the monk is undergoing through an affliction, okay, like lion eating a man, in the same moment, they are enjoying eternal bliss. And that's why the corpse have been able to sustain those afflictions, and they manifested omniscient knowledge and got liberated. 3 Pandavas. how they were able to achieve liberation? Just because they never got affected by the afflictions, right? So this will give you enough strength, and these situations are extreme situations that I am talking about, but in our day-to-day life also, at our level also, you will be in a happy state all the time, even in the face of adversities. Hemali, you suffer a loss of 1 crore tomorrow, okay, or your family business. What would be your reaction? Right? Based on this principle, what you would react? Very good answer I want.
It was meant to happen.
Okay, anyone else? Same example.
That money was not mine to begin with anyway.
Yes, this is
Mhm.
where you need to start. That money was not mine in the first place, you know.
Mhm.
I believe that this is my money, and then the money went away, so I thought this is a loss to me.
Mhm.
But in reality, the money was not mine to be. And the second the logic that you said that this has bound to happen, that is also there. But there is a weightage of truth. So the what Roshni says carries more weightage. Okay. So this way we need to apply and so the newspaper are the best model to exercise this kind of option, because we cannot wait something to happen in our life to apply this principle. So what you can do? You can pick up newspaper. There are so sad news, certain fraud, digital arrest. Every day this is coming in the newspaper and still people are suffering. Then you have to realize, you have to put yourself in that place, and what would you have done? You know, you practice it this way. This will, make you stronger. And this practice, when there will be a real life situation in your life where there is an adverse situation, this practice will help you to overcome that situation. Okay. So newspapers are the best thing. Every now and then we see that small matter, there was a murder, there was a rape here, this and that, there was this film star, like so many things coming up, you know, all this. Only I read this part only. Otherwise, I'm not interested in newspaper also. I think it's a waste of time for me. But only this kind of real life situations, like that plane crash, one person was saved. Now these kind of examples, which is happening really, you know, so that, you know, that asserts your belief that whatever you have understood through principle, practically you have to correlate with the situation happening all around you. And this will develop in yourself a strength to practice discriminative knowledge in all situations. And when you practice this discriminative knowledge, then of course you experience eternal bliss. You are in calm and relaxed, you know. Outside there is so much happening, but inside you are relaxed, because you are been able to absorb whatever is reflecting on your knowledge screen, and you are not reacting. Why you are not reacting? Because you have practiced. Okay. If you don't practice, then you will not be able to execute this. Okay. So we cannot wait for anything happening in our life to practice, but we have to practice this way. You create a situation that what will happen if you are in a Titanic. What you will do if you are in a Titanic? Hemali, Pratibhaji, you say. If you are traveling in that Titanic ship and it has been announced that it will sink in another 6 hours, what you will do in those 6 hours?
You don't have any control over it.
So what you will do?
Well,
You call your family members? What you will do?
no, you cannot call them either. If it's on the ship, sometimes some ships have Wi-Fi, some don't. Now there's the new ones, you know. So
So
it's
there
good
is,
to get in touch with them. They had one ship happen like that few years back here too. It just floated all the way from one to the other end of the other state, you know.
Mhm.
And they didn't have any control over it. I mean, the situation happened that some might look at it, they might find you. So again, depend on your destiny.
Mhm.
If you're going to survive, you will survive.
Mhm. So what you
only
will do in
effort.
6 hours? In those 6 hours, what would you do?
I would concentrate on myself, on my
Hmm.
soul.
Right. So how you will concentrate on yourself? Whatever the thoughts, what would be your thoughts at that point of time?
Meditation,
Okay.
trying to have positive thoughts. So
Yes.
if you're going to survive, you will survive.
Hmm.
Again, it's your Ayu karma too.
Hmm.
But only thing you can do is meditate and concentrate on yourself, on your
Okay.
soul.
What you will do, Madhuji, and then Rekha?
In my mind, along with Pratibha ji, the same thing. And I believe a lot in meditation, although it's not possible
Hmm.
every day. But उससे अपन we can find out our
Develop strength.
mistake. Yeah, we get the
Okay.
strength. And
Rekha?
Uh, yes, sir. Based on the Jaina principles, what we learn.
Hmm.
So on all the four expositions and
Hmm.
review all what we study, and then
Hmm.
stay calm, sir. Stay calm.
Okay. Very good. Then Roshni?
Same, I would think of Pratmanu Yoga, for example. Mahasati Chandanaji went through lots of upsurg,
Hmm.
but she accepted her fate. She knew about, she thought about her karma, that whatever is happening to her is એમને ભોગવવાનું છે.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I would try not to accumulate more karma in the process of my grief.
Hmm.
So I would try and not grieve.
Okay. Good. Good. Hemali?
So I agree with what everybody said. And so I would take refuge in my soul. And
Hmm.
in fact, there was a line that you had used in one of the previous classes, and this line fits in directly over here, that instead of being anxious, I will just float with what's happening and,
Hmm.
accept whatever is the reality.
Okay. Good. Soumya? Soumya is there, then I would like to hear her answer first.
Yes, sir. She's.
Genuine sir. Sir,
Hmm.
actually, I've kept myself in these situations many times. And
Oh.
what I actually keep practicing. So, what I will thought that what I will do in these situations, first I will renounce everything, like whatever the parigrah I have. So
Hmm.
suppose, and also all the relations that whatever family members I had in this paryay, these are just bound to be in this paryay.
Hmm.
And also these things whatever I had,
Hmm.
it is not going with me, and I am just only soul. And what whoever said na, that meditation, definitely meditation is the only thing that we have to take refuge in our soul itself.
Right. 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 Good.
Just be relaxed, don't panic,
Yes.
because
Yes. Yes. Yes.
whatever
Yes.
is going to happen,
Yes.
it will happen.
Good. Good. Now, Soumya.
Yes, sir. Sir, to start with, I will think logically about whatever we have read till now in Jinwani. That is
Right. Right.
about four kinds of misbelief. That is oneness, mindness, doership, and
Hmm. Hmm.
so first, I will try to get rid of oneness and mindness from this body by way of practicing discriminative knowledge that I am not this body. I am worried about the
Hmm.
sinking of the ship, that I
Hmm.
will be detached from this body or I will die.
Hmm.
This is not the reality. Actually, the reality is that the soul that I am and the
Hmm.
body, these are going to separate.
Hmm.
That's all what is going to happen. This is not death. This is not my death.
Hmm.
So first, I will try to distinguish myself from the body.
Hmm.
Then I will say that this body is not mine.
Hmm.
That I'm not the one. If anything happens to the body, I am not one who will get affected. I will
Hmm.
go to some other paryay, and that will be
Hmm.
all.
Right.
So the third thing will be doership, that actually I am not the doer of the body. If anything happens to the body, doership and enjoyership both. So I will not be the one who will bear the pain of something that is happening to the body.
Right.
So maybe it may last a moment or two,
Hmm.
whatever at the time of death, some pain is bound to happen.
Hmm.
But that is that for that pain also I will just be
Hmm.
And just I will be the knower of that pain, that this pain is happening because of the proximity of my body to my soul.
Right.
And
Right.
I will try to remain a knower at that point of time. So this will be the logical thinking, and to sit in the meditation, this logical thinking, maybe by the belief that I have in the scriptures and the readings that I have done,
Hmm.
I will
Hmm.
try to reinforce myself into all these thoughts
Right.
to remain calm and to take hold of the things.
Good. Good. All have answered very nicely.
So one thing that comes to my mind is like, sir, acceptance, sir. One thing.
Yes.
And
Yes.
renouncing, sir.
Good. 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 So the best answer was applying the 4 expositions. So whatever you have said, all have correct. But like 6 hours is a long period. Okay. So of course, the ultimate would be the meditation. That was the final answer. So we want death in equanimity. Okay. So death is inevitable. Okay. Now in this kind of situations, the best you can do is the ultimate meditation. But 6 hours is a long period, and that much stability nobody can have at this point of time. Okay. Even there is stability for 48 minutes, you manifest omniscience knowledge. But omniscience knowledge is right now not available, right? Nobody can manifest that. So of course there will be distractions in between, but you have to keep back coming on this only, and try to be like try to meditate as much as you can. Okay. And with whatever you have practiced so far, one thing was very certain, that whatever is happening on the outside thing. As a soul, we are only a knower, and there is nothing happening in the soul. We are quite secured and fully secured. Okay. So whatever suggestions had come, all were very correct and very good. So this kind of experimentation is going to develop your strength of practicing discriminative knowledge. And this is how when at the monk level, if this kind of afflictions happen, they are able to remain calm and relaxed. From the sometimes when we read, we find that this is something practically not possible. But when you think on these lines, like small thing happenings in our day-to-day life, and there you are not manifesting passions, the situation demands that you manifest anger. But with this knowledge, you are not manifesting anger, and this way you win that situation. So these small wins is going to make a big impact when the situation demands. So this kind of practice we need to do every now and then, because all these principles that we are learning, that is for practical application. It's not the theory, not the knowledge thing that we have acquired, but how much we are able to apply it in our day-to-day life, that makes all the difference. Okay. Yeah, Himali.
I wanted to ask you something. So, in the past few months,
Hmm.
have been some um, uh, very young people who've died
Hmm.
in our family,
Hmm.
and some people who actually have somehow gotten to know that their death is near. So,
Oh.
it's one of my aunts.
Hmm.
She at 3 o'clock, she
Hmm.
told the maid that call everyone in the house and ask
Hmm.
them to come to me.
Hmm.
Then, she told them that, this is, my end is very close.
Hmm.
She apologized to everyone,
Hmm.
saying, if I have done
Hmm.
hurt you in any way,
Hmm. Hmm.
she said in Gujarati.
Hmm.
She made a few her daughters in the US. She called up and she apologized to her also. So I wanted to know that isn't this also attachment, that thinking that I have done something to them? I mean, what should and so like actually Soumya said, I've also thought that when something like that happens to me, am I maybe I won't know, maybe it'll be sudden, I don't know. But if I get to know, then do I have to call everyone, apologize? What essentially do you do, sir, when you if you get that premonition that death is close and your life is going to end? I mean, this life is going to end.
Right.
So is it right to call everyone, apologize, or
So this where we have not studied yet death in equanimity. Samadhi Maran. There is a concept called Samadhi Maran.
Correct.
And
Correct.
who is eligible to take that Samadhi? Someone who has lived his whole life like this. It's not that at the end moment. This is a practice that people generally do. In the end, when the end is very near, they call everybody and say forgiveness and everything, because that's part of the rituals that we follow. So they do it that way. But in reality, you have to practice this discriminative knowledge day in and day out. And then only when the death is close, you will be able to exercise this death in equanimity. Okay. Your Samadhi Maran can only happen if you have lived the life like that. Okay. In the end, only someone tells you about Namokar Mantra and you die peacefully. That is not peaceful death. Peaceful death is when you live your life like this. Every moment you are able to connect your situations with the posing yourself as a soul entity. And when you see things from the perspective of a soul who is a knower only, okay, devoid of attachments, aversions, only a knower, pure observer. In this way, if you live your life right now, your Samadhi will automatically happen. Whether you call everybody and give forgiveness or not, it's immaterial. We are forgiving everyone every day. Okay. The moment you established yourself as a soul, all this is happening in the background automatically. Now, if you consider yourself to be a soul, then everyone in the universe is a soul. So you don't have any enmity with anyone. So you have already forgiven everyone. Okay. But as a rituals, we do practice certain things. And but when you are living life like this, okay. Now, if you tell me, I will not do such things. I will call everybody and forgive me. I will not do, because I have already sorted all these things. Okay. I am going to die peacefully. I'll be in my own. I'll try to be my own. That would be my endeavor. Okay. So, so we need to sort out these things right now only, everything. Whatever you have in mind, whatever clutter are there in your mind, you sort it out right now only. And be in that equanimity pose all the time. Not in terms of practice, but in terms of understanding. Okay. So you put all your efforts in developing that understanding, contemplating about it, and making a decision about it. Okay. This as a practice you have to do every day. Whatever you read, you contemplate about it, you come at a conclusion, done. This is what our efforts can do. Beyond that is all going to happen according to the eligibility of the moment. Tat samay ki yogyata. Okay. That was the final outcome. Okay. But as a practice, you do it in and day out. Make your life so blissful, that even something big happening, no, you are unaffected. Based on these principles. Not that I have to show that I have studied so much, so I will not react. No, it's not that. Based on this, based on the practice that you are doing, everything will be settled. Okay. So these are the practices that people generally do. Those people who have not studied like this and practiced their life like this, they feel that this is what we should do at the end, because they have been seeing these things happening in their family from time since they were there. So they, as a practice, everyone does that. Somebody says that I want to listen to Namakar mantra, but for my preparations, I would say that I am fully prepared to embrace death without any distractions, nothing like that. I would be on my own. Okay. So we have to sort it out. So like, in a drama, people do rehearsals. So these are all I was talking about is the rehearsals. Okay. So if you are you have practiced very nicely in the rehearsals, then when the actual scene happens, you'll be doing it very naturally because you have practiced so many times. So similarly, at our mental level, we should be very well prepared, by applying the principles. Not just that I want to have a peaceful death, But by applying the principle, there, based on that strength, you will be able to be relaxed in every situation. Okay. So we will continue to do this every day in our practical life. And when there is a trigger in our life, something going up and down very fast, at that point of time, all this practice will help you to navigate that situation. You will be in calm and relaxed, okay, because you have already applied all these principles. Okay. So nothing new will happen at that point of time. Whatever you have done, your previous homeworks, that is only going to help you in that situation. Okay. So the endeavor is, we are not preparing for that, but we are preparing for every moment of life. I want my life to be, I want to be happy in every moment of life. Okay. So this is my endeavor. So this is not for 1 hour, 2 hours. This is for 24 hours, all the time, every time. Now, when you live this life like this, of course, the death is going to happen very peaceful. So that peaceful death is an outcome, is a byproduct of the life that we are living right now. Okay. So don't worry, all will be very fine. Our life is so smooth, and the death is also going to be very smooth. But don't miss out on any opportunity. Whatever time you have right now, all utilize it in studying, contemplating, and taking decisions in it. This is what we can do consciously, and unconsciously whatever has to happen will happen.
Sir,
Okay.
I want to say something.
Hmm.
In our day-to-day life, in our family life itself, even though when we are not wrong, and some person in the family tells you something, when we do not react, we are giving the person time to understand the situation. They understand, and next time they are more careful. That is what I realize when we do not react.
Definitely.
And the situation also becomes very peaceful.
Because although they may not admit because of ego, but they all realize that this has happened just because you have studied. They all realize.
Exactly.
So these two happen. Yeah.
One more thing, no, sir. All this thing, as you say, does not happen all of a sudden. If I am at the deathbed and you tell me to think about my soul, how is it going to be possible? Even in that 6 hours of journey, had I practiced it earlier in my
that is what I'm trying to tell.
Very true.
That peaceful death is just a byproduct of what we are doing right now. So we don't prepare for peaceful death, but we prepare for peaceful life every moment. Every moment. And if you are not able to be in yourself with this principle that we have learned here, then you take that situation and analyze where you have faltered. Okay. And then you will realize that, oh, I would have applied 4 exposition in the first place. So it will have settled most of the issues. And then whatever issues are left over, you see which exposition is applicable over there and apply that exposition. Right. So, so with this kind of practice, with this kind of awareness, life is going to be good, very good in the present moment also. And of course, the future is going to be very, very bright. We are going to get liberated very soon. Nobody can keep us in this world when you are embedded with this kind of understanding and principles. No karma, no external challenges can influence you in any way. This is our what we can say confidence. Okay. Develop because by practicing these principles day in and day out. Okay. So very good discussions on this, and I'm very proud of you, Soumya. Although I don't hear your voice very now and then, I don't know whether you are attending or not. But if you have practiced many a times, so it's appreciated. So this develops that strength.
Sir, I have a question, sir. When we talk about the 4 times 4 kashai, Anantanubandhi Pratyakhyana Pratyakyan Sanjwalan. So when a Muni starts getting to a higher stage, is it their practice of all these qualities is it what's making them progress? So are their
Yes,
kashais becoming weaker and weaker and weaker, and if we start practicing that way, are we
yes,
trying to be like them too? Okay.
yes. Monk is a very later stage. Right now, whatever situation is there, like you cannot change the external situations, right? Now, if you are a woman, you cannot change, right? So that is there. Now, what you do right now with whatever you have got, that is going to bring in the other things in your life. Now, if you are in such a situation, now you have got only 1 hour a day with you as a spare. Okay. Now, if you utilize that 1 hour in study of this, there will come a situation where you have 6 hours in a day. Because our punya also goes along with that, no?
Yeah.
Now, somebody who has got no time at all, what he is going to do? He is hand to mouth. He has to start 7 o'clock in the morning and come back 10 o'clock in the evening, and that's how he is making his two ends meet. Now, for that person, he is struggling. But since his understanding is there, correct understanding that I should do this, I should do this, all this, manifest auspicious karma in it. And you will see sooner or later, he will have good things in life, which will facilitate him to spend more time with Jinwadi. Okay. So while we are studying this, our punya is also of highest level. Okay. So in the outside world also, you will be succeeding like anything. But never forget our purpose in life. Okay. Success for us is not getting progressed in the corporate world or money wise. These are not the parameters of success. Success is to be happy in every moment. Now, this success you have to measure on your own. And if there are clutters in your life, we can discuss and sort out. We can make a strategy to fight that out, and life will be very peaceful. But first, you need to have an intent, right? Intent to live such a life. So I am depicting that picture that in spite of whatever life has offered to us in these situations, we can still work it in our way to live it happily to the fullest. This is our endeavor. How much success we are going to get is different thing, but our approach should be like that. And with this kind of approach, success is a byproduct, right? So it's like that. Okay, so we will move on to the next module, that is 18 number, which again says that transformation is the nature of reality. So in this
Sir,
whole
sir, in this module, I have one question.
Hmm.
Sir, in one paragraph, it's written in the paragraph essence, the transformation of all substances are distinct.
Hmm.
In this, it is written that the jiva is the doer of only its own transformation, and its own transformations are its karma.
Hmm.
So on the one hand, the actual reality is all the jivas, irrespective of whether they are ignorant souls or knowledgeable souls,
Hmm.
they are the doer of their own modifications. Now
Right.
that modification may be of defilements, that is ragdvesh, etc., or
Hmm.
that may be a natural pure modification also.
Right.
So is it apt to say that all jivas are doer of their own modifications, whether that is ragdvesh or impure modification or a pure modification? So is it contrary to the first point that was made earlier,
Hmm.
that the knowledgeable soul is not even the doer of its own defilements?
Right.
So this
So
is my doubt.
yeah, so I will explain you. So there are two ways of practicing science of discrimination. Okay. The first part, distinctions between the two substances. Okay. So when you are discussing the distinctions between the two substances, two independent substances, okay, So at that point of time, whatever is happening in this one particular soul, the soul is the doer of that substance. So supposing now attachment is happening. Okay. So when we are discussing discrimination between two independent substances, then we will say that whatever happens in this particular substance, that particular substance is the doer of all those things. So in that scenario, the soul is the doer of attachment aversions, because the body is not the doer of those things, because this attachment aversion is happening in the modification of the soul. Okay. So when we are discriminating between two substances, one substance is particularly doer of all the things that is happening in that substance. So from that perspective, we are the doer of attachments, aversions, auspicious, inauspicious, impure, pure modifications. Okay, done. Now, after doing this, when you move on to further subtle practice of discriminative knowledge, and that is distinct between the real nature and the alien disposition. Swabhav or Vibhav ka Bhed Vigyan. In that scenario, the soul is not the doer of attachments and aversions. The soul is not the doer of pure modification also. The soul is devoid of modification at all. So two way of discriminating. Now, the first one is what the Pravachansar teaches us. Okay, Pravachansar Panchastikai, distinction between two substances. When you are expert at that, you move to Samaysar, where you are where you are practicing distinctions between your inherent nature, Swabhav, and the Vibhav, the alien disposition, which is a result of your outward, what you call, your outward inclinations. Okay. So when you are inclined outward, that is the time you manifest toxic emotions, alien dispositions, and that is the time you practice the second kind of discriminative knowledge. So sometimes it would be said that the soul is the doer of this, his own modification. So by saying that the soul is the doer of its own modification, they are talking about the first thing. Okay, which I said is a part of Pravachansar and Panchastikai, Vastu Vyavastha. Okay, that is also called Gyan Pradhan Shaili, predominance of knowledge perspective. And when it is from Drashti Pradhan Shaili, predominance of belief oriented inclination, okay, Drashti Pradhan, then we say that the soul is not the doer of its own modification also. Okay. So which one you need to apply, that you have to see. It is not one kind of application every time. Okay. Generally speaking, we want only one kind of application, but that is not possible. Our religion, the Jinvani, is Syadvad. It says from a certain perspective. So two different perspectives, you have to understand it, which one to apply where. Okay. If you are not clear about that, then this confusion will always say. Okay. So now when we say that the transformation is the nature of reality, so which perspective is this one, Soumya?
Sir, from knowledge perspective, Gyan Pradhan Shaili,
Yes,
sir.
Gyan Pradhan Shaili. So in Gyan Pradhan Shaili, Rag ka karta bhi Jeev. Okay, everything Jeev, whatever happens in this particular substance, the Jeev is responsible. Okay, so we keep on switching between these two kind of presentations. Sometimes from the knowledge perspective we talk, sometimes from the belief perspective we talk. Okay. So when you want to realize your soul, ideally we would be applying the belief perspective. Okay. And when we are just looking at a general situations, we always look at from the knowledge perspective. Okay. So both
Okay,
are,
sir. The nature of reality is always means discussed in the knowledge perspective, na, sir?
yes, always, always. And nature of reality is the ultimate truth, vastu
Hmm.
vyavastha. Okay. Now this राग का कर्ता जीव नहीं है. This is being said from a certain perspective, and
Yes,
that
sir.
perspective is to practice descriptive knowledge between the inherent nature and the alien disposition. Okay. So this is a purposeful thing that you are doing. But
Hmm.
having said that, the nature of reality is supreme. It is the universal truth.
Yes, sir.
So we need to understand both the things. First, we need to strengthen our understanding about the nature of reality, and then we move on to the belief reality. Okay. So what has happened, because the Samaisar has been so much of read by Swamiji 19 times in the General Assembly, so this become very popular. So people started discriminating between the modification and the substance. Modification is not part of a substance. Modification is an external entity. All these statements come from that perspective. But you have to know the reality also. So if you don't strengthen yourself on the reality aspect, although you will say that modification is not my part, it is an external entity, but when it comes to taking decisions, when it comes to taking actions, you will falter. Okay. So ideally, we should read Pravachans first and develop that strength. Okay. The nature of reality. And then we move on to Samaisar to practice the ultimate discriminative knowledge. Okay. So that should be the ideal way. But now we are more inclined to Samaisar. So we have forgotten this nature of reality. How many persons would have read Samaisar, Pravachans? Not
Very
many.
few.
Very few. So this verse number 99 was from Pravachan. So it will depict the nature of reality, and that is the ultimate truth. But when you want to serve your purpose of self-realization, you have to come to Samaisar also, where you are talking from the perspective of belief. Okay. So the belief doesn't accept attachment as part of the soul. It doesn't accept. It says the pure soul is devoid of all modifications, impure modifications, and even pure modification also. Okay.
Hmm.
So this kind of talk is always there. But if you understand the perspectives from what it is being said, there is no sansai, no vibram, no anyadhyavasai. No doubt, no perverse belief, and no indecision. Your knowledge is perfect, right knowledge. So right knowledge does not have these three blemishes. And if these three blemishes persist, right knowledge cannot manifest. Okay. So understanding in the real, from the what perspective the statement is being made, it's very important. Now we don't have much clarity on this. So this essay has been written. You will see somewhere it is being depicted from the belief perspective, and sometimes it is depicted from the knowledge perspective. But since it has not been clarified, and like you asked this question, so I clarified. Otherwise, it goes unnoticed. So this was
Yes,
a
sir.
very good clarification, the question that
Yeah.
you asked, because
Yeah.
you
Thank you.
should clear your doubt every now and then. Okay. We have all the time in the world. We can take extra classes to finish the course, but I want whatever we study solidly. So we don't have to go back again, and there is not much to study. Okay. So the syllabus is very small, provided you understand it in the right perspective. Recently, I've been teaching Sadhvijis, Svetambar Sadhvijis. Three Sadhvijis are there. They all are young and they can talk in English very fluently. So the grasping that they are doing is mind-boggling. They are so ready within a span of 2 months, in between they also got distracted for 1 month because one of the Sadhviji did 108 fasting. And it is the first time that a sadhvi has done 108 fasting at a stretch. And there was grand celebration. And people from their villages, from what place it belonged, they all came here. So the other two sadhvijis had to be in his seva. So we got distracted for 1 month for that. And now again, after the that distraction, we have again joined back. And now they have just 1 month left over. They have to move to some place in Kalyan, Sapur, you know. So now they are asking me to come twice a day. So I'm going twice a day. Because their interest is so much that if you tell them, you give them some homework, they are ready with the homework, they are ready with their questions, and the kind of questions they ask, I can make out that they are understanding in a very great manner. Now the question that you asked, that was so relevant, you know, so relevant. You have to think it that way. Okay. So the fourth one point that we 3 points we discussed in the first paragraph about non-doership. The fourth point, that although because each substance is indeed the doer and experience of its own transformation. Now this is being said from the knowledge perspective. Gyan Pradhan Shaili. Each substance is indeed the doer and experience of its own transformation. However, this does not imply that you can make any alteration to the future transformation that has appeared in the omniscient's knowledge. Okay. So although you are doer and experience of your own transformation, but you are not the doer and of the changes in that sequence. Okay. So this was the fourth point regarding the non-doership of Jain philosophy. So with these 4 points, there does not remain any doubt about the doership. Okay. You are very well established that you are a non-doer. And when that is the case, then automatically you are enjoying eternal bliss. Okay. So the 17th point, 17th module has ended, and there was a question in the end. This question I wanted to discuss, you know, let the time be taken, but we don't mind it. So this question and the next question, transformation is the nature of reality, are again connected. Is the self the doer of its own transformation or not? In this context, Swamiji's clarification is as follows. First, the question. The modifications are sequentially bound. Even the modifications of the soul are sequentially bound and occur only as they are due to occur. Therefore, is it correct to say that the soul is a non-doer of this modification? Now, this question itself possesses that challenge that Soumya just now raised as a question. Are you able to understand that? So what would be your answer, Himali? Tell me. Is it correct to say that the soul is a non-doer of these modifications? What you will answer?
So, like you said, that one is the knowledge and one is the belief.
Right.
So, sir, as per the from the knowledge perspective, the soul is not the doer.
Not doer of what?
Of the transformations.
Okay, from the knowledge perspective.
And from that is what, sir, I was asking you. It's a bit confused.
Right. Okay, you just hang on. I will ask somebody. I wanted to understand the last part of the question. Is it correct to say that the soul is a non-doer of these modifications? So which perspective we are talking about, belief or knowledge? It is belief perspective.
Yes, sir.
Non-doer of these modifications. Okay. So this is from the belief perspectives. So non-doer of any modification is belief perspective. Okay. And when we talk from the knowledge perspective, whatever modification is happening, soul is the doer of that modification. Okay. Irrespective whether it is an impure modification or a pure modification, soul is the doer when we talk from the knowledge perspective. Okay.
Yes.
Now you see the answer. No, it is not correct to say that the soul is a non-doer of its own modifications. This is being said from the knowledge perspective. Okay. The soul itself is the doer of those sequentially bound modification through which it transforms. Okay. So this is again knowledge perspective. However, it must be particularly understood here that for one who has the vision, what is written over there in the your script? However, it must be particularly understood.
The one who has the belief.
Belief, sir, belief.
Belief.
In place of
Okay.
vision.
Okay. So I have given that correction. Vision ka belief. So they have done it. Good. So drashti. The Hindi word is drashti, and drashti means shraddha, and shraddha means belief. Okay. So the chat GPT has translated vision. Okay. So vision तो देखना होता है, तो देखने की बात नहीं है. Here drashti means belief. Okay. So that correction has already been done. That is good. So so that I was referring. Okay. However, it must be particularly understood that the one who has the belief that the nature of the soul is to know, or in whom the determination of sequentially bound transformation has occurred, such a jeev just does not transform into disposition such as false belief and the like. Okay. That means the one who has the belief is a right believer, right? So
Yes.
the Jnani does not transform into dispositions such as false belief, mithyatva and the like. Okay. Because he has become a Jnani. So he does not have this false belief. Okay. Therefore, it is a non-doer with respect to dispositions like false belief and so on. Furthermore, even in defilements of minor passions, such as subtle attachment, it does not transform in an unified form. From that perspective, it is a non-doer even of attachments and the like. Now here, when it says from that perspective means from the belief perspective. It is a non-doer even of attachments and the like. Now here, if I want to talk from the knowledge perspective, what I would say? Same thing.
That he is the doer of that.
He is the doer of the attachment and the like. Okay. However, it is the doer of its own pure sequentially bound transformation. Okay. Such as right belief, knowledge, and so on. The expression sequentially bound modification does not mean that becomes the soul becomes that transformation without itself being the doer. Again, knowledge perspective is being applied here. Okay. The enlightened one, while engaging in the pure state of knowledge, is himself its doer, and the ignorant one, while engaging in the state of ignorance, is the doer. Okay. Why this is being said? Okay. Because in Karta Karma Adhikar, they wanted to establish who is the doer. And if soul is the doer, then what it actually can do. So there it was mentioned that he is the doer of its knowledge sentiments. Okay. So knowledge sentiments is the Jnani. What is the Jnani doer of? The Jnani is doer of its own knowledge. Jnana ka karta hai. Okay. Just because it was a karta karmadhikar, that was established. Okay. But when we talk from the belief perspective, you can always say that Jnani is not the doer of any modification, whether pure or impure. Okay.
Yes.
So belief and knowledge perspective, Gyan Pradhan and Drashti Pradhan, they have two different perspectives, and not only they have two different perspectives, two different scriptures has been written about it. One is the Pravachan Sar and another is Samay Sar. So whatever Samay Sar says, that is because of a certain purpose, and you have to understand it in that purpose only. Okay. Then you will be able to do all justifies. There will be no doubt there will be no perversity, there will be no indecision. Okay. So good. The question was very good from Soumya. So we discussed this. Okay. Now we are going to end this. The expression sequentially bound transformation does not mean that the soul becomes that transformation without itself being the doer. The enlightened one, while engaging in the pure state of knowledge, is himself its doer, and the ignorant one, while engaging in the state of ignorance, is its doer. So he is the doer of ignorance and he is the doer of the nirmal gyan bhav. Okay, pure knowledge state. Okay. In this way, each substance is itself the doer of its own sequentially bound transformation. Okay. So this is the end of the 17th. 18th is again transformation is the nature of reality. So again this is being said from the Vastu Vyavastha, the nature of reality. Okay. So here again we will discuss this. So let's see how it goes. 18th, it's a very long, we have to read this. So we are reading this, and in homework you understand this, and the next time I will summarize. Just as I summarized verse number 99 right in the beginning of this class, similarly I will summarize this. Transformation is the nature of reality. So we have 9 minutes left, so we will read through this and the explanation will come in the next class. Okay. So start reading. Who is left over? Roshni, you read.
Yes. The expression sequentially bound transformations. Oh, ito આપણે વાંચી લીધું. The next.
ये वांची लीधो 18.
હા.
Transformation is the nature of reality. You give the heading. Even if this point is examined.
Even if this point is examined from the perspective of the nature of reality, then too the same conclusion will be reached. Because just as permanence is the nature of each substance, so too is transformation. For that which inherently possesses a particular nature, what need is there for external assistance in its manifestation? If a substance were to require dependence on another for its transformation, then how could that transformation be called its nature? The very term substance signifies the capacity to flow or to transform. That which transforms on its own is called substance. In each substance, there exists a general attribute called dravyatva, a fundamental potency. It is by virtue of this that the substance is capable of transformation. Transformability is the general nature of a substance. It is its inherent nature, sahaj dharma, intrinsic nature, swabhavik dharma, and a nature that is independent of others, par nirapeksh dharma. When each substance is flowing by itself, transforming of its own accord with its regular stream, naturally undergoing sequentially bound transformation, then what need is there for it to disrupt its own sequence? What obstruction exists in the nature of reality that it would need to alter its course? And why should it alter its course? What necessity compels it to change its flow? How can it even change when every modification manifests only at its designated moment? And as has already been clearly explained earlier, just as there are as many units of time across the threefold time, so too there are as many modifications of each substance, and each modification is fixed in its own unique unit of time. If one modification is displaced from its designated moment, then that unit of time becomes vacant. And from where will another modification come to fill that moment? The desired modification that you wish to bring, if you were to displace it from its own place or its destined time and bring it here, then would you take the modification belonging here and put it there? That is simply not possible. After all, why not simply accept the inherent nature, Vastu Swarup, of reality? Why the insistence on forced alteration? Dharma is nothing but the spontaneous acceptance of the inherent nature of things The acceptance of the natural transformation of a thing in accordance with its own nature is the beginning of dharma. Such a person's belief naturally turns inward. For a jeev who easily accepts sequentially bound transformation, it is sequential binding. There is also in its sequential binding, there is also an easy transformation towards its own intrinsic nature. Such a harmonious and orderly coordination is inherent in the nature of reality itself. Just as substance and attribute are existent, so too is modification. This is explicitly mentioned in Pravachan Sar, verse 107. If substance and attribute are eternally existent, then modification exists in its own time, that is, it exists in a single moment. Just as the eternality of substance and attribute cannot be challenged, likewise, the existence of modification in its own time too cannot be challenged. However, the belief of the ignorant, who is unaware of substance and attribute, remains fixed on modification. It remains entangled in the notion of altering modifications. Due to this entanglement, his belief does not turn toward his own substance, and he fails to attain substance as a result, as object of belief, dravya drashti, that is, right belief. In the scriptures, it is said, Panay mudhi parasamai, and jo panayesu nirad jiv parasamaik ti niditha, declaring that one absorbed in modification as object of belief, or paryay drashti, is a false believer, whereas one established in substance as object itself is a right believer. In order to attain substance as object of belief, the realization of the sequentially bound nature of modifications is essential. When it is firmly realized that each modification too exists in its own time and that no alteration in it is possible, then the belief becomes unconcerned with modification and naturally turns towards the intrinsic nature.
This line you have to mark it down. Last line. When it is firmly realized. This is what we discussed few moments ago. Yeah?
Yes.
When it is firmly realized that each modification to exist in its own time and that no alteration is in it is possible, then the belief becomes unconcerned with modification and naturally turn towards the intrinsic nature. This is what we want. Okay? By studying this principle, this is what we want. So if you have this object in mind, then only you will be able to realize it. Okay? Continue. One paragraph more.
Yes. Without the realization of sequentially bound modification, it is not possible for one's belief to turn toward the intrinsic nature, for the burden of altering the modifications according to one's own will continue to weigh upon it. A belief burdened with the weight of alteration lacks the capacity to behold the intrinsic nature. Without the complete determination of belief, inward penetration is not possible.
It has also been said, Jinke mathe bhar, the person who carries weight on his head, ve dube majdar, they sink into the ocean. Okay? Ve dube majdar. Majdar means in the middle of that ocean or what? हम तो उतरे पार जोग भार को भार के वे. So I came out of this because I the weight that I was carrying, I removed that weight from my head and put it into someone else. Okay, someone else means not an entity but anything. So if you carry this burden on your head that you are the doer, okay, then you will sink. But if you remove this burden, the weight of doership, you will enjoy your life. Okay. So this is where the 18th ends. The 19th begins, wrong belief of ignorant soul. Okay. So this is what? So this particular thing was about transformation is the nature of reality. Now, this is precisely what pravachans are. Gatha number, verse number 93. 93 to 105. Okay, and another 5 you can take, so 110. This is a must for everyone to understand. This explains the nature of reality, vastu vyavastha. Okay, so every time you have a challenge in your life, you have to connect to this nature of reality, the inherent nature of reality, vastu vyavastha. And vastu vyavastha is universal truth. Okay, so every time you are connecting to the universal truth, you are aligning your belief with the universal truth, then your belief becomes right. Okay, so this is how we have to practice, and practicing this, whatever wrong imagination, wrong belief we have, which we have acquired over a period of so many years that we have been in existence, that goes away. Gradually it goes away and the right belief sets in. And one time will come when we will be able to discard this delusion in totality, and that is the time we will manifest right belief. But there is a work in progress going on. Okay, every time you read Jinvani, you are turning towards that right belief. Okay, so it's just a matter of time. It will happen, but even till that time it is not happening, we are going to enjoy based on our nature, the pure soul. Okay, because right believer believes himself to be a pure soul, and wrong believer believes himself not to be a pure soul. That is only the difference. So we can very well believe ourselves to be the pure soul, which is the nature of reality. The nature of reality said that every soul is a supreme soul. हर आत्मा परमात्मा है. ओके, है, होना नहीं है. So you accept it and you are good. Okay, so we will be explaining this module 19th, not 19th, the 18th one. I have not explained it. I will explain it in the next class. Today our time is over. So I'm not going to read word to word, but I'm going to explain in a summarized form, and then we will move on to the 19th one. Okay, so if you have any questions, you can ask me personally, or let's first finish the Mangalacharan and then I can wait for any doubts that you have. Okay. निज निधि निज में बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना